Did I just purchase a non-runner Mercedes GT63s from auction for £86,000? Am I really that mad, or was it one of the best investments I ever made? Some of you guys have been watching this series pretty much all the way through now and are very much tuned in. And I think on today's video, we're all going to find out the results. In the last video, we had the car fully built up and we went for a test drive. On that, the car would barely move above 5 miles an hour. The traction control light was just kicking in like mad. Now, the question is, what's making the car go so slow? We had a look at the ABS sensors, which looked like they were perfect. We even done a live data reading, and that turned out to be fine. So I guess today is where we find out, have we found a solution to that problem? Is that good or bad? Well, let's find out. So if you guys remember in the last video, this car wouldn't go above 5 miles an hour. So now if you look at this, the reason this happened is because when the engine was pulled out, obviously because of 4MATIC, the drive shafts come off, and we put the wheels back on without a drive shaft and pushed it off the ramp because we needed to use the ramp. And in that process, because there wasn't a drive shaft on it and it wasn't fixed, it was moving around a lot. So because of the excess movement, it ended up damaging these things. It's the ring here. So that's the reason we got 2 new ones today. These are the hubs that cost me, how much were these again? Do you remember? I don't know, it's like, probably like £900 for these 2, right? I checked on eBay, used ones are going for the same price, so I just went brand new. What we're going to do is install these hubs on both sides, put the wheels back on, and I think we should be good to hit the road for the first time without being on 5 miles an hour like last time. So let's get cracking. Now this video is sponsored by Car Vertical. They are a comprehensive vehicle history check covering more than 25 countries. Here I have a sample history check from another Mercedes-Benz GT63. Let's have a quick look. So as you can see, this here is a snapshot of the status of the car. There seems to be a problem with the odometer. Let's have a look. Now as you saw above, regards to theft, there seems to be no problems with that, and it's done a check in all of these countries. However, when you come to the odometer, there seems to be some issues over here. The mileage history goes up and suddenly drops down in around December 2022. So this here has highlighted that somebody has clocked the mileage back. On this particular vehicle, there's not been any damage records, and you also get other information such as emission, tax and fees. My favorite part is a timeline which pretty much shows you everything from the beginning of the vehicle, starting from when it was manufactured, registered, and any time the ownership changed or even had any sort of maintenance done to it. If you guys want to use Car Vertical to check a car, be sure to use the promo code NAMS to get yourself a 10% discount, or using the link in the description. Now back to the video. I'll show you the difference from a new one and one that's smashed up. See that ring there? That's the pickup ring for the ABS, and that's the state of the original one. So that's the reason the car was moving 5 miles an hour and the traction control light was flickering constantly. So we've got 2 of these. Let's get them installed and get started. So there's just under 2 weeks left on the Audi S3 competition. If you haven't got involved yet, make sure you do now, because I've just changed the prices of the ticket from £3.99 to £2.99. This is a stage 2 360 bhp. It featured on my channel a few videos ago, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out. Let's hit the roads and let's go for a blast. So this car has 3-inch downpipes installed, 3-inch intakes. Sounds absolutely amazing. It is very quick. Quattro 4-wheel drive, got all the lovely crackle and pops at the back. Handling is amazing. Chuck it in a corner. Guys, remember, this car retails at £10,000. Imagine you win this for £2.99. All you have to do is take part in boost comps and take part in the competition. All of this for £2.99. You don't want to miss out. So both the bearings are now back on, wheels are on. Just because the engine cover left to go on, we're starting this car and we're going to hit the roads. Let's hope there's no more problems in this car. Okay, so I've just started the car up. If you remember in the last video, the traction control light was flickering like mad and he had loads of ABS and traction control fault codes. So I've just started the car up with the new bearings fitted. What we're going to do now is plug the diagnostic machine in, clear the fault codes and go for a test drive. If you remember, we had that sensor rotor adaptation has not been performed, which I have done now, but it said the car needs a test drive, so we're obviously doing that now anyway. In terms of the ABS issue, there doesn't seem to be any more fault codes to do with that. So it's got implausible data was received from the rear axle steering, invalid signal, basically 10 faults throughout the whole car regarding ABS. I'm going to clear them now and see what comes back. All right, that's interesting. Now everything has cleared. We only have refrigerant level is too low. That's to do with the AC gas, something to do with the heads-up display, and we got one fault code for engine mount B, electrical fault. That is probably the wiring on the engine mount itself. But for now, we should be good to test drive the vehicle. Let's hit the roads and let's hope that is the end of our problems, or at least the ABS problem. All right, let's go. I think it's fixed. I'm doing 30 miles an hour, by the way. Before I couldn't even go about 5. Wow. Let's hear it. It's a bit quiet, if you ask me, but can definitely feel the power. Can't believe it, man. After all that stress I've had on this car, going back and forth, finally here. I've hit the roads and it's driving amazing. You can actually hear the turbo let off when I let go of the accelerator. Bloody hell, this car moves. Oh my days, the car just lifts up like this and just goes. Because everything on the engine has just been assembled freshly, I am keeping my eye on the engine temperature, any sort of oil pressure lights that might come up after a build, just to make sure everything's okay. But in terms of driving the car, 10/10. It's driving amazing right now and it's flying as well. Bloody hell, man. If you don't know already, this car has rear steering as well. So when I go right, the wheels on the rear turn left. So we finally went on the road for a test drive. I'm very happy to say the car is running spot on. The only thing left on this car is that one annoying fault code which has been there for a while. Sensor rotor adaptation has not been performed. We've had this fault code ever since the position of the intake camshaft bank 2 deviates from the specified value. There is an implausible signal. Okay, so there's two things I can take from this, yeah? Either the sensor rotor adaptation is not working because there's an issue with the camshaft, or I just have to do the adaptation correctly. So I'm going to try this one more time and hopefully try and sort the problem out today, and that would be the end of the problems on the GT63s. It requires me to do deceleration at least 11 times from a speed of 20 kilometers an hour and above. It also says the eco start stop function must be deactivated, engage the first gear, means manual transmission, done that. Accelerate the vehicle to above 20 and allow it to stay in first gear and keep coasting. This step lasted for 11 times before landing successfully. Alright then, I guess let's get started. Oh my god, what's going on? So if I let go now, it should allow me to do one deceleration now. So look. What? I've just pulled back into the workshop. No luck, unfortunately. We tried to do the sensor adaptation on the road as well, but as you see from the system, it's not allowing us to do so. Something is definitely wrong somewhere. The only thing I can think about at the moment is two things. Either the camshaft is faulty or the the timing is one teeth out. I'm not really sure, and until we get that sorted out, the engine management light is not going anywhere. But the good news is the car's up and running, it drives perfectly fine, it's even boosting. Here's the GT63s, that was a complete non-runner, and now it's running absolutely sweet. Just look at that idle. Perfect, just as it should be. So I guess that's the positive side, but for now we're gonna have to look into this further and come up with a solution. Next week I'll update you on what we find. We're gonna start diagnosing the problem. Really hope it's not something big, and I really hope it's not out of timing or a camshaft, because if it is, this whole front end is gonna have to get stripped again, and I'm not really looking forward to doing that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. If we have to, we have to. We'll crack on with it and get it done. So thanks for tuning in. Like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're new.